Welcome to Indie Insight. Today I have Frankie Raye with me. Frankie, would you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, my name is Frankie Raye, and I'm a singer-songwriter in the Tampa Bay area. I've been full-time for about 2 years now, but I've been songwriting probably for the past 10 years. So, yeah.
Wonderful. So I know you cover some artists, but you also write your own work.
Yes, absolutely. Songwriting is actually my main project. I released kind of an independent acoustic album in 2014 called Chapters. And then in 2016, at the end of the year, I released my actual, like, kind of official album, that's actually on iTunes. And I was able to actually get distribution from CD Baby. And I was able to collaborate with a lot of other musicians for that album. So, yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Well, I did watch an interview that you gave to one of your local news, and you said that your music was folk, pop, and a little bit of Broadway.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the cool thing was for this album, I worked with this amazingly talented keyboard player, and his background is actually a lot in musical theater. So he was able to kind of bring a lot of those elements in there. So just very, think of like, I don't know, 1950s kind of, like, I just like things that are upbeat, and I've always liked folk music, but there's definitely a little pop in there. And I kind of recently I've been saying like 1990s acoustic singer-songwriter kind of stuff, like Annie DeFranco and Jewel and Alanis Morissette.
Right.
Yeah.
So that gets into my next question. Who inspires you?
I'm actually a big fan of local artists. I'm always trying to go see live music, and anytime I see like an independent band that lives in the same town as me, I always try to purchase their CDs just because I like to support local music. But there's a songwriter called Jerry X, and she's probably my biggest inspiration, I think. And she lives right in St. Petersburg, so not too far from where I live in Tampa. So she's amazing. She's probably one of my biggest influences, I think. So
Oh, wow.
yeah.
So just you're my first non-author, so this is a little bit different for me. I
Oh,
know. I'm like, wow, yay. Because
yay.
I think people are scared. Like,
Yeah.
oh, well, you do author stuff. But I truly believe that the indie world is blended and
Yeah.
that we can all support each other.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I,
So,
what's funny is this was a long time ago, but there's this venue in like right around Tampa, and I actually played at a book release party. I didn't know the person that well. I didn't know the author that well, but I was actually invited to be one of the musicians at his book release party. And he was obviously releasing it independently. So that's a cool way that, books and music and, anything, it could all come together in the indie world, I think.
oh,
Because
absolutely.
it's all self-expression.
Yeah. And then the film portion, I mean, everyone
Yeah.
can branch together.
Yeah,
That'd be
absolutely.
amazing. And that's the great thing about GoIndieNow, where Joe Compton,
Oh, yeah.
sorry, I'm being attacked by a cat, literally.
Yeah.
um, that Joe Compton brings it all together. Trying to incorporate all indie artists, not just.
Right.
And it's not that you don't want people to have fame and success, and we're not like,
Mhm.
oh, down with traditional, but we
Yeah.
also know the struggles of being out here and not having that supportive the title of being a traditional published author or
Yeah.
a professional singer backed by one of the big, I don't know
Mhm.
how many record companies there are.
Yeah. There's so many. Yeah. There's
And for
actually.
authors, we say big five, which
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm not even sure it's five anymore. But
Yeah. I don't even know what it is in the music world, but the cool thing is I think all that's kind of changing a little bit, at least with social media and the internet. It's I love the fact that I'm able to grow up in this era where I can record my own music if I want. I can upload it to my own website. I can print it out on a CD and sell it on my own. And, it's really cool because the musicians before, this generation, they weren't able to do that. They were kind of going into it blindly. Like Nirvana would, drive across country for a show that they didn't even know was still going on, like it was a lot harder back then, I think.
probably because you had to get in there, and it
Yeah.
didn't mean you weren't talented. It
Yeah,
just meant
exactly.
maybe that you didn't get that right person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's great. I'm so excited. I don't even know what to do. I'm so excited. I did listen to all your songs, but one of them I wrote it down, but my own handwriting is pretty crap, I guess. The title of the song I think is "If I Had It in Me,"
Yeah.
and that song gave me the chills when you were singing
Oh,
it.
well,
No, I,
good.
I mean literally got the chills. I was like, that is such
Oh.
a good song. I was going to ask you what inspired you to write that.
A little bit of everything. It kind of came together through a bunch of different situations, but I try to get at the main idea of it is just courage and getting rid of the things that are holding you back, but also, missing your old self, because everyone's always growing and developing and, I don't know, I feel like every few years there's like a new chapter in your life and you kind of shed the old skin and there's just a lot that went into that song and a few people have actually said that they really liked it. So that's awesome, but it's basically about courage. I kind of use little, just pieces of a bunch of different situations where I had to be courageous and, push myself to be that way.
Your family inspired you. You have a family of musicians.
I do actually. Yeah, I have pretty big family of musicians. I want to say maybe with the exception of a couple, they all have done music professionally at some point. I have uncles that have, just, toured the country. My brother has, basically toured the world. He had a song out on MTV, and so he was pretty big. He had a radio hit, so he was able to, he kind of really inspired me. He was the first one in our family to kind of make it in music, So, yeah.
So did he have wise words for you
Yes,
as
he
far
did.
as
Yeah, because when I first started trying to get into this, I was so focused on the business aspect, and I was focused on, okay, get interviews, get pictures, it was like all of the other stuff, but I was forgetting about the art and the craft. And my brother said, don't worry about the business stuff. That's going to come later. You just need to focus on your craft first of all. Like that should be your main goal. And when you're good, then the business will just kind of fall into place. There will be people, it'll just happen. Um, that, and then just to never give up and believe that your success has already happened. He's a really big believer in whatever you picture in your mind, you can get in reality. And he's always told me that. So I kind of, sometimes I pretend that I'm already, touring the world and yeah, so.
I love that. I always say to everyone, you have to like what you do because at least you'll have one person that really enjoys what you
Mhm.
wrote or you sang or so that's my crazy
Yeah.
calendar that led me to like your songs that you cover. I
Yeah.
love the fact that you Four Non Blondes was on there because that is truly, I
Yeah.
won't sing it because I'm not a singer and you did. Wow, she's really bad at that. But yeah. So,
Yeah, I do like playing that song. It's hard to do though because it's very demanding vocally, so I don't always do it. I usually only do it kind of on a request basis, but it is definitely a fun one to do. But I actually have to do it a step lower, a whole step lower than the original because Linda Perry just gets up there.
yeah. I love the opening though.
Yeah.
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 So I won't make you do that. I don't want to ruin your voice.
Oh no, I'll play it.
And then Dolly Parton, you have her on there. And I'm known for being an amazing Judi Dench fan, like obsessive, crazy. But prior to Judi Dench, which you may not know.
No.
Okay, Judi Dench is a British actress. She's
Okay.
known for James Bond.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, okay. We're,
I'm not
we're
even
actually telling everyone how old I am versus you,
No,
right?
they're good.
Which is okay. But prior to her, Dolly Parton was my savior, my like inspiration. And so when I saw those, I'm like, that's very cool. Like your wide variety of interests and songs.
Mhm.
I
I
love
love Dolly Parton. She's a poet. And what's funny is so a lot of the music that I listen to, it's all usually from my mom because she used to have music blaring every night and I would listen to it. And Dolly Parton, she would play a lot of Dolly Parton, but it's funny because my mom doesn't like country at all. But my mom doesn't see Dolly Parton as country. She sees her as a poet. And like my mom would stop and play a song over and be like, Frankie, listen to this lyric. Isn't that great? And I'm a huge fan of lyrics. That's that's a huge thing for me. And Dolly Parton's lyrics, it's like she has such a way of expressing herself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I did feel like when I was listening to your songs, the same thing.
Well, cool. Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
I put a lot of time into lyrics, I think, more than anything.
Well, I'm not, I'm one that on the radio, I get shocked a lot because I hear the lyrics. I'm
Hmm.
drawn to the lyrics before the beat. So
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, do you know what they're saying? And people in the car are like, no, what are they saying? I'm like, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Really? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
hearing this all subliminally.
Yeah, exactly.
So is there any advice you'd give to anyone that would like to try this on their own?
So I remember talking to other musicians and trying to get advice myself, and they always say the same thing, like, "Oh, don't give up, believe in yourself," and that's really important. And I actually just said it earlier: don't give up and believe in yourself. But as far as more concrete advice, you need to be getting out there and meeting as many people as possible. Like, go to open mics, practice your craft every day, whether it's your voice or your guitar. Take care of that. Take care of your voice, and you have to just keep trying to just get better and better. And yeah, go to open mics. And if you want to start playing at venues, make a list. I mean, I've got lists with hundreds and hundreds of venues across Florida that I've contacted, and it's funny because you'll contact, let's say out of every 20 venues, you're even lucky to get a response from 2 of them, so it takes a long time, but go to open mics, record as many videos of yourself as possible, try to get some professional videos, professional pictures, professional audio recordings, use that as a demo. Social media is, a huge part of it. Get out there, post every day, tag every day, tweet, just get in everyone's faces.
I
So,
like that advice.
yeah.
And that's how you got here.
Yeah, I mean,
People get you in faces.
yeah, it's taken me, there's some places where I play that it's taken me a good 2+ years just to get in. I would start by sending like 10 emails and I didn't hear back. And then all of a sudden I would get a response, a year later, like, oh, okay, I'll play there. So, yeah. I have a musical theater background. Like I already said, old Broadway
I
is
love
an
that.
influence, So, I guess like the stuff that I like to write about, I try to stay away from like cheesy love songs. Except the newer songs that I've been writing kind of have been more relationship based, but I try to write about other things. So,
Well, you did write a love song that was not really a love song. It was about a situation a friend of yours had gone through.
Yes.
And
Wait, which one is it? Let me see.
hold
I'm trying to
on.
think of
You're like,
because there have been
it
some
was,
random,
it was
yeah.
a cheating husband.
Oh, It Takes a Man. Yeah.
Thank you. I
That's
was
a
like,
new
why
one.
don't I have it here?
I was thinking to the album because that one hasn't been recorded yet. But yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
It Takes a Man actually isn't on the album. There is a video of me playing it in a like professional studio setting, and I think that's what.
That's probably where I saw it. So if
Yeah,
people check
yeah,
out your website, they're going to get a taste of some things that are not in your album.
yeah,
That's
absolutely,
exciting.
yeah.
I
So,
love that.
and I'm going to be uploading some videos soon of some other new songs where I'm actually with a full band. But yeah, It Takes a Man was fun. It was this husband who he was cheating on his wife, and I was like, oh, that'd be a fun thing to write about. Like my song to her. So.
And it was very well written, and
Yeah.
it was definitely worth talking about. So
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
exciting. I'm I'm from the generation. Once again, we're going to date me versus you, where music videos
Hmm.
were everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you do any music videos, or do you just do
It's.
straight like singing music?
I mean, it's in the works right now. I'm talking to some, professional videographers of maybe doing like a really cool video of me doing a cover or um, something like that. If I do like an actual music video, I mean, it's got to be done 100% professionally because I see some music videos that people post and it's like you can tell that it was filmed in their backyard and it's like that's fine, but I don't know. I don't want it to look cheesy. So, but yeah, music videos used to be a big thing. I remember waking up before school and getting so excited to see new music videos that came out, like Kylie Minogue or, you know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, this is so great. Um, Missy Elliott, and like, I remember waiting for those videos because Missy Elliott always had funny videos. But yeah, it's not really so much of a thing anymore.
Yeah, it's not. Well, once in a while, Taylor Swift will give us a couple.
Yeah,
She
yeah,
likes to
she
keep
does.
us with
Yeah,
her her crossover.
yeah, exactly.
I love that. But not dissing Taylor. Don't get mad, everyone.
No.
And then when does your new record come out?
I've actually kind of started kind of pre-production things now. I'm almost through with writing it, so I would like to start recording it maybe end of the summer, maybe early fall. Have that recorded, so hopefully I can get it out by the end of this year. I definitely want to take my time. I'm not trying to rush it. I will be releasing singles before the album comes out, obviously. But as far as the album goes, I really want to take my time because I think my writing's changed a lot and my sound has kind of changed, and I really want the album to reflect that. So I'm super excited.
I'm super excited to hear.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely, I would like you to come back.
Yeah, I would love to come back.
Thank you so much for taking the time out of your evening. I know
Well,
Friday.
thank you
Hopefully,
for having me. I was really excited.
you're like, what's
Yeah.
me? I don't have anything super like I'm not gonna. My dream was to make you cry, but I'm over my Barbara Walters dream. People have promised they'd cry for me, and nobody cries.
Oh, I'm not the best crier though.
That's okay. I would feel bad, and I'd not put it on the air anyway. I'd be like,
yeah.
I mean, Miranda, thank you for joining me today.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, for sure. My name, well, obviously, Miranda Oh. I am the author of the Chin Up Tits Out series. So people ask me what that is, and I tell them it's chick lit, and I know it's a super vague answer. But I definitely, they're fun reads, and I love connecting with really fun women across the world. And when I mean fun, it could be meaning literally broad, like chick lit. So I am from Manitoba, Canada, so right smack dab in the center of the prairies, and it's super cold here right now, and tea. But yeah, you just survive and you thrive and you keep going and have this chin up, tits out attitude and see where it takes you. Super excited to be here this evening.
Very cool. So I've been thinking about your tagline, and I was raised a very proper Catholic girl. So even saying it for some reason, and I'm reformed, I'm not Catholic anymore, but for some reason I'm like, I can't say that. So do you get feedback on that where people are like, oh, we're all like, I mean, I'm not a little old lady, and I swear, like, it's just so funny. I have like the worst mouth ever, but for some reason saying that, I don't have the confidence. So I guess. So so have you had any feedback on your tagline?
I have had, I would say, 2 or 3 people say something. I missed one of them. I was at a book signing, and the manager took my poster down when I went upstairs to get coffee. And I came back, I was like, what the heck? He's like, oh, somebody asked if we could put that away because it would, their child didn't want to see that or shouldn't see that. That wasn't appropriate for children. And like 3 feet away, there was a big book title, and it was like food porn or cabin porn or so. I was like, and that's acceptable. Like that. So I missed that one, and then I have had one older lady and one older gentleman, and both of them were not in the same stores in the same cities, even in the same provinces. They were both like really perturbed about it, and I was like, no, let me tell you my story and why I live by this motto, why it's not a provocative thing, why it's not something that means something sexual, or I mean, we can giggle about it. Yeah, sure, okay, that's that's funny. But and it is like, I still giggle at it, but I'm a 5-year-old at heart, but I still, when I need to say it, it comes off as that confidence piece. And that's all it is 2 little small actions that we do by lifting our chin up. And, if we please, shoulders back, right? And chest out. Word it however you want to word it. If you do those 2 little things, life is just that much better. And it's just because you choose it to be, so it even makes it more better. Lots of better.
I love that. So I'm still not going to be able to say it. So, but I will think it and feel more confident. So
yeah, exactly. We don't need to parade it around. I mean, if I had a shirt though, I would rep that shirt. I would rock it all over the place.
I can wear the shirt. I just can't say it.
But I won't say it. But yeah, call it whatever you want to call it, right? Fake it till you make it. Live with confidence. When you get knocked down, pick yourself up again. Whatever that slogan is for you, whatever floats your boat, just rock it. And if you rock with your inner voice, then you're following the books. You're following the books, which is a pretty rad way to go.
So can you tell us about the books? I mean, you have several?
I have two.
Okay.
Two. It will be 3. I won't be writing the 3rd one until probably 2019. So a big gap, yes, and it's on purpose. Reason why is because I blew the first book out of the water in like 3 months, like 90 days from the time I signed a contract and paid my publisher to create a book for me. I was like, oh, I guess I gotta write it then. And then a couple months after that, I banged out the second one, and it was 3 times the size of the first one. And it exploded after that. And I was like, okay, I gotta let these 2 books grow, and I want to grow my people, and I want to grow this lifestyle and this motto and this confidence, because I want to build the foundation, right, for something, just like we should all do in our lives. This is something important to me. I want to build roots to it, and so that's what I'm taking this year to do, and expand my reach and growth and whatnot, and go from there. So books, what are they about, right? It's a good question. If you like wine or any alcoholic beverage, or not, tea works too. That's also water, whatever. But I encourage some vino if that's your drink of choice. The story follows a young woman. Her name is Hadley. And I think she's the type of young female. She's 18 when we meet her. She grows almost 8 years, 7 years or something within the span of 2 books. So we grow with her through her 20s. And we meet her at 18, and you kind of go like, that's the kind of girl that we always hoped to be, right? She was smart and driven, fearless. She owned a business at 18. She was going to college, and then she falls in love. And she falls in love with the boy that has a cute accent from a foreign country. Every parent's happy dream. So, you follow this very spirited young person, and she just goes at it, and you really get to know the dynamics of her family and how important they are. But then she flies to the opposite side of the world to go be with this person. And the first book really takes you through the triumphs of a long distance relationship. And the man was from Africa, so it was a long haul relationship. And they decided, you know what, like, Canada is not too shabby place to live, they say. So let's move on up to Canada, thinking that immigration wouldn't be as difficult as maybe reality hit them in the faces. So it did. So the first book, like I said, it kind of takes you the triumphs of long distance, then immigration, the corruption of immigration, the corruption of African immigration, the racism, the remnants of the apartheid in South Africa. Like it's definitely, it talks about a lot of heavy things, but from a point of view where, North American people, if we don't have any influence, we don't really get educated, or at least I didn't really get educated about what happens overseas. I got educated about what's happening in my backyard, right? And it's this insight that it's heavy, but it's twisted and it's funny, because Hadley has this weird chin up, tits out sense of humor that when you get into an argument with an immigration officer, you can't go yell at a big old black man when you're white and super pasty because it's December, and you're giving him the little what for finger. Like, we can do that here, right? We're Canadian. I'm an independent woman. I'm strong. Don't tell me no. No, you can't do that in Africa, darling. Please don't. just go home. So that's what the first book is. It's just this ridiculous, twisted, hot, romantic ball of fire. That's pretty much what it is. That's what the first book is about. And the second book, we finally get to have Hadley and her partner come home to Canada, and you're like, yeah, like Rocky, da 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 da, like, they're coming through the gates and everybody's super excited and they get their happily ever after, like riding away on the horse. That didn't happen. Some medical marijuana happened, a lot of champagne, a lot of wine, drank from bottles, because of a diagnosis that threw them off kind of kilter. So as much as everybody's so excited, it just kind of gets them thrown off, and the universe is like, no, we ain't done with you yet. So it deals with disease, mental illness, family issues, the strength of family, and then again, all wrapped up in this twisted sense of humor, oddly optimistic story of this person who just keeps persevering through life, and for some reason keeps picking herself up, dusting herself off, and pushing forward with a chin up, tits out attitude.
That's so great. I don't know how anyone couldn't hear you speak about it and be completely intrigued and wanting to go and get it right now.
I'm highly encouraged.
Yeah, it sounds great. I would love to say that I'm reading right now, but unfortunately my graveyard of books is just growing and growing. So, but one day I'm going to read them all.
That's okay. You will. They're good books and they're fast. Like the first one, you'll finish it in 2 hours.
I like those kind of books.
Yeah, definitely.
So I always ask about research.
Okay.
What kind of research have you done? I always give the example of my first book. I have potions and spells in it. So I had to look up, like, if you mix this herb and this herb, would it kill someone? And I tried to, like, be very clear, like, not mixing anything that could poison people, in case someone was silly enough to think that I knew how to make magic potions.
Right.
So yeah. So is there anything that you've had to research to be authentic in your storyline? It sounds like you had a little bit of immigration research.
I spoke to immigration people. I funded programs within Canada. I had myself traveled and kind of experienced some of the immigration issues and struggles from overseas. So I had not only experience, but when it came to writing it and being factual about things, it was definitely research and definitely the help of certain people or professionals that I had crossed in my paths in the past. I'm like, hey, you remember me? I'm writing a book now. Can we talk? over coffee. So there was a little bit of that, and then writing the second book when I was writing about the Canadian healthcare system and mental illness and support groups for certain types of diseases, and that was hard for me to reach out to people for that because again, I had gone through some of that with multiple family members in my past and people in my life, multiple people, not just family. And so when it came to like writing and being factual about it, I had to almost remove that emotion and write just straight facts and then add emotion after that. So that was really an interesting piece of the research for me. And then research for the third book, I'm gonna have to do it. I just don't know where I'm gonna start with that yet.
You're like, I will start when I'm ready, dang it.
Yes, exactly. And you have to be ready. Like you have to be in a right mindset to be ready. And so yeah, I've pushed it back a little bit longer than I was expecting it to be, but I don't feel rushed now, so I'm quite happy with that.
Well, I truly believe that I don't have right now. My problem is I have too many books that won't shut up. And so I have to argue with them. It's like, it's not your turn. Right now I'm working on this one. I hear you. Go away. I'll come. But some are so persistent that they jump ahead in the line. So I have to like go and write down at least what they told me because sometimes they won't tell me again. They're little liars. So I know it.
Yes.
It might sound like I have a little mental illness, but I do not.
Oh, that's okay. Even if you did, honey, I'd still embrace you. We all a little crazy. For sure, I got some.
Absolutely.
For
I didn't
sure
say it
there's
wasn't
a lot of
crazy.
stuff in there.
I always ask about the indie community. I always describe it as a big indie commune of love and sharing and everybody wanting to help everybody out and give, give, give. Even sometimes I see people not really pushing their own stuff. They're worried about everybody else. So what's your experience with the indie community, if any?
Well, it's still pretty new. I would say within my first year of being published, I was kind of solo, kind of running around like a chicken with her head cut off. I did deal with a couple of other authors that were published in and around the same time I was, but they were nonfiction business tool book authors, so just a tad different, just a little different. So our experiences were a little different, our goals were a little different, and then when I was introduced to the indie community via my publicist with Mickey Mickelson, he introduced me to this world. I was like, no way, this is amazing, right? Because you not only create a little circle with your readers, right? But now I get to create a little circle with like-minded creators, right? I don't necessarily have to love all of your books or the way that you write or etc., but I can connect with you because we have certain issues, we have certain celebratory times, right? Like we get the ups and the downs of being an indie author, so we get to kind of have that connection. So I love the ability to have that connection because it is tough to explain to people this little world. You tell people they write a book or that you've written a book, and I don't know about you, but they like kind of lose their shit. They're like, no way. Like, dude, I drank a box of wine. I wrote a book. I don't know.
Well, I'm not very good. Cool. I'm not very good at it. They'll be like, oh, what's your book about? I'm like, and I will say it very quickly and very dismissive. And then, oh, what about you? I'm not. And it's not that I don't love my books and think my books are amazing. I just don't want to be that person that, traps someone in a corner talking about their books.
I don't. I tell them to chin up, tits out, remember it, and then
Oh, no, I don't mean you. I'm sure you're lovely. That's my own insecurity crazy.
But you're right. I'm the same way. I get so gummed up when people react to me that way, and I'm like, you don't get it. Like, to me, writing a book wasn't something that was like a Mount Everest to climb, metaphorically. Maybe it was, I don't know. I just really enjoyed it. I just enjoyed offloading on it and drinking lots of wine and being creative and then rereading it, and you know, from he said this to she said that, changing that said to whatever the next creative word the source threw at me, right? Like, I really enjoyed doing that. And so writing a book was just, I had a story to tell and I really wanted to do it. So it was really awesome. But when people are like, oh my God, you wrote a book, I'm like, I don't.
Yeah, I wrote a book.
I did. I did, but I don't know. It's not, it's just part of who I am.
Thank you, Miranda, for a wonderful interview.
Creativity, it's the spirit, it's the style of the writer that's important, not to meet all the goals to become a New York Times bestseller. I mean, there's too much, in some respects, there's too much pressure put on indie authors to be the ones supported by the big five. I mean, there are realistic goals. I mean, to get a book noticed by Hollywood, you have to have 100,000 to 250,000 sales. That's a goal. That's where a lot of authors fails.
Mhm.
Comparisons, not goals.
When does the second book release, and what is the schedule for the next one to come out?
Do You Believe in Legend is currently on pre-order in Amazon. 11th, I'm hoping the third book will come out sometime this year, but I'm not sure, because I'm also writing a YA fantasy I want to get out first.
All right, thank you so much, my friend.
Oh, thank you, dude.
Anything changed, plots, characters, and so on from the start, from when you wrote the first book to now into the second?
Yes, a lot. See, when I first wrote the horse book, and then I wrote its sequel, I was yelling at the world. I was angry, I was pissed off, I was just dealing with a lot of emotional crap. Really being bad for my stories. And making them stereotypical. Then when I got to Legend, because Legend was really helping me heal from something, that's when I first really became a writer. That's why it's taken like 20 years to do this story, because it's been me maturing as I've been writing. When I got a chance to be published, and I was having a person review it, they said, yeah, Legend's good, but it's confusing, so why don't you go back and do another story. So I had these two stories that I was really not impressed with. So I ended up pulling the title from one, pulling the story from the other, throwing away 90% of the story, and rewriting the whole thing. I'm a rewriter sometimes. What I have to stop doing, though, is keep getting trapped in the infinite loop of rewriting. So hopefully these things that I've learned over the last couple of years will help me with the next book being faster, because I need to catch up with everybody. I mean, you've got authors that are producing 48 books in a year, and here I am producing one every 2 years.
I know authors hate to do this, and I know that every story is unique. I don't want to devalue your story, but for people, so that they get a general idea of where the direction you're going, compare your stories to a famous work. What is your stories most like?
I hate to say this, but my stories are kind of like Star Trek.